Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Episode number 16, Risky for the Biscuit podcast. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We are back with another episode, and I'm just excited to get this one rolling. I'm officially graduated college, all that. We're officially done, so we're going to talk about a little bit about that today. And then by the title of this video, we're going to talk about Joshua as well. So a lot of things to go over. And I think it's gonna be cool. I think it's gonna be a good episode here, and all that. So, man, with that being said, I'm officially graduated, officially done with school, and it's also episode 16, as I just mentioned. So that's what 4 months, 16 straight weeks. So it feels cool, man. It feels cool, and I'm just thankful and excited for that. And I believe we're just gonna keep getting better and all that. So anyway, I don't want to spend too much time here. Let's get right into it. School, man. So I've been holding off on kind of talking about this for numerous reasons. The first being I didn't want to, because I'm going to give just like my straight opinion about my 4 years at school. I didn't want to, have potential professors or whatever kind of affect my grade in my time there. But now since I'm officially done, just gonna kind of give my full opinion on everything about the university and just my experience there. It's I feel like it's a pretty big topic, and people want to make that decision. They have a lot of questions. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Do you actually learn something? And especially with a lot of, I guess, from parents' concerns as well as the cost. College is getting more expensive, and then the stat, I believe it's like 12-1 professors are liberal versus Democrat or conservative. So a lot of people view college as just like a indoctrination camp or whatever. So yeah, man, there's a lot of questions surrounding it. So I'm just going to give my experience. I got some points here that I'm going to go over, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you. Hopefully, maybe if you're a high school student getting ready to go to college, maybe this will give you some help, some clarity. Maybe you're a parent trying to decide, school or not school for your kid, whatever. Hopefully this helps. And so I'm just going to start off. When I was deciding to go to school or not, I didn't really want to go. I literally only applied to one school. I started an application for a second school, but I had already been accepted into the first school. And so I just stopped that application, and I went to the one school that accepted me. I didn't want to go because growing up, I wanted to play basketball, and I didn't see the point of going to school, but whatever. I just went to a local school, and so as I look back now, when I'm finished, although I didn't really care too much about college, I didn't care about the college experience, the college life. I didn't really care for the degree. Kind of just growing up with my dad, having his own business and family having their own businesses. It was always more like business minded, stuff like that. So I didn't really want to go to school. But as I look back, I do get a sense of accomplishment now. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect to actually like kind of feel proud of myself for committing to it and going through with it. But like, yeah, because I didn't really, honestly, it's not that I didn't try, but I wasn't really interested in the topics. I wasn't really interested in a lot of the stuff, especially like the stuff not for the major, but just like the course, I forget what it's called, but the basic coursework. I was not interested in that at all. But I am actually pretty proud, and I do have this sense of like achievement and accomplishment, which is cool. Um, when you go to high school, everybody, that was never a question. Was I going to finish high school? I was absolutely going to finish high school. But college, it's not required. Like actually, you're paying to be there. So I could have dropped out at any time. I could have stopped at any time. I have a lot of friends. My brother, they took semesters off, things like that. Or some people just started and then dropped out. Um, there's a lot of options to do that, and especially like I think about all the obstacles, just like in my personal life, going through it, working, starting, a different position, getting more work involved in ministry, lots of different options outside of school, lots of different options outside of the traditional, you know, college route. But I kind of stuck through it with the college part, and other factors like COVID. I know a lot of people, took years. I took a whole year off because of COVID. Just couldn't do it. Kind of stuck through it. I did a COVID semester. I did. I mean, I think we were 2 months into the semester when COVID like shut everything down. I mean, 2.5 months. So finished that one up. But then that fall semester, that was a whole COVID semester. Masks inside, everything, and a lot of people, um, they dropped. They dropped, or they just took time off. I didn't do that. I kind of stuck through it. So that makes me feel good. When the war started in Ukraine, that was something I didn't think. I was like, man, my relatives are, you know, in war and my friends are over there and I'm here going to class. Like that seemed like the most pointless thing. Um, could have quit, could have dropped out, didn't. So that gives me a sense of accomplishment. There was another thing that always kind of scared me as well. I didn't think I was going to mention it, but uh, so I grew up playing basketball. I want to play basketball. I was very, committed, practice, trained. Like that's all I did. And going into my junior year of high school, I just kind of like that love for the game or whatever, that desire to play kind of went away, and I just was in a bad place mentally. I could probably talk about that later at some point as well. But like mentally, I was in a bad place, and I just quit. I didn't want to play anymore, um, and I wasn't enjoying it. And I told my coach, I said, "Hey, I don't really want to do this anymore." And he told me, you know, he didn't recommend me quitting. He wanted me to stay, and he kind of said, thing I told my kids is he said his kids, they grew up playing basketball for him. He's like, they had these moments too. He's like, but I told them not to quit because, if we quit one thing, you're going to find yourself quitting other things in life. And I mean, there's, however it works in life, like you take advice or you take information from people. The good stuff you keep, the bad stuff you kind of just whatever, or like the stuff that, applies to you. And I heard that, and I kind of just dismissed it. Like I was like, yeah, but I know myself. I didn't want to. I'm not a quitter. This is just a different like season. This is a different. I lost the desire to play, um, and so I ended up quitting. And although I did dismiss that, that what he told me was always in the back of my head because he talked about marriage. He talked about giving up on kids and wife, and he talked about like a lot of stuff down the line where you might have an out. And so initially when he told me, I definitely dismissed it. I was like, yeah, but I know me. I know myself. But in times when it got really really tough, those words, man, and I was scared. I was like, I don't want to be a quitter. I don't want to be someone that just starts stuff and gives up. And there's a lot of other things I tried. Maybe like a business idea or like even creating content or something. Like I would start it, I'd get excited about it, and then I'd find myself kind of quitting. And so I was like, man, this is the one thing, I can't quit. I can't be a quitter. So that's it, man. Yeah, so I do have this sense of accomplishment. And I will note also that everyone's situation is so different. Being in college and also, talking to peers and classmates in classes and things like that, everyone's situation is so different. There's kids that, are literally just chilling. Like their parents are paying for everything. They don't have a job during college. They just are chilling. That's it. Like they just have their classes and their, after school stuff. They're just chilling. There's some kids who took out loans. Just their parents aren't paying for it, but they want that same experience. They took out loans in order to not have to work and then just to, cover all their expenses. Took out fat loans. There's kids who, um, are working their way through college. They're paying for everything themselves. There's people, in all different types of situations, and situations where maybe they wanted to go to college, but there was a tragedy in their family. So they have to, start working in life. There's just so many different situations. So you can't just look, even if I give advice or, tell my experience, you got to kind of look at your own thing. And, you know, I don't want to sound like Andrew Tate, but you got to look at your own chessboard. You got to find that piece or that move that's the best for you. Everyone's situation is different. And so for me, as I mentioned, I didn't know what I was going to do after high school as I graduated, and a lot of the popular uh, messages, especially on the internet or whatever, is just hustle, grind, start your own business. You don't need college. Do whatever. But for me, I never had that desire. I never, and I mean, of course, business is interesting, but I never had like that dream business. So I was like, well, why would I go and, drop out of school? I don't have that dream business, I don't have anything that I want to, work really, really hard on. I just didn't have that at the moment. Um, you know, I didn't have that. And so I think not having that, I didn't want to like risk just kind of wasting time. For me, it seemed like wasting time. I was like, listen, I don't know what I'm going to do. But in my mind, it was like going to college buys me another 4 years to kind of test things out, figure out what I like, figure out what I don't like. It just buys me another 4 years. If you don't go to college, like this is it, bro. Like this is life. You got to start doing stuff. That was the pressure that I felt. Um, so for me, in my mind, it made it easier just to say, okay, I'm in college, and it took the pressure off of me to have to go do something right away, to do something big. So yeah, and it kind of kept me busy. Like I was doing something because I know now I kind of look back and or around, and there's people that time went by, and we graduated at the same time. Time went by, 4 years went by, and they either tried college or they didn't. They took some time off, but I just kind of chugged along, doing my classes, whatever, whatever. And now I'm done, you know. So now I don't have that weight, kind of like, oh, should I go back to school? Should I not go back to school? The 4 years is done. I'm 22 years old, and it's go time. This little season of being a student and everything is behind me. And I just feel like strategically, like if you're trying to set things up, like that's better. Like you got this out the way. You know what I mean? Like if you have a dream, if you have a plan, if you have an idea that you want to chase, and you're fully convinced, and you have your convictions about it, you believe in it, be my guest. I didn't have that. I said, you know what? I would rather be doing something, because I mean, like I'm just looking at my situation right now. When I started college, I was working at Home Depot, and then I went to work for my dad. Um, so what? If I didn't go to college, I just would have been working for my dad. 4 years would have gone by, still working for my dad, probably making roughly the same amount, maybe a little bit more. Still in ministry, whatever. But now the 4 years went by, and I'm done. Now I can go do whatever. So that's just my perspective. It's like you can spend 4 years kind of trying things out, and then you decide, oh, well, maybe I should have gone to school, and maybe now I should go to school. Now I'm done. Now I can do whatever. Um, and 4 years really went by like really, really fast. And so, yeah, another question, I think, um, that I was going to get into, people ask, does it prepare you for work? And I'll be honest, not really. It didn't really prepare me for work. So as I started college, I was working at Home Depot. I learned a lot there. I was very socially awkward growing up. I didn't know how to talk to people, but going to work at Home Depot, like as a sale or like just an associate, and having to communicate with people all day, that just boom escalated like that. Like I don't have a problem with that. So that was really cool. I learned a lot at Home Depot. I learned a lot in my time there. Um, but then my dad invited me to come work with him, and um, when I started working with him, it's a small business, and you learn a lot of things working in a small business, and working in a perspective like I'm not the owner, obviously, but I had a lot more responsibilities, and I was solving real problems and coming up with real solutions, and growing things and building things, putting processes together in place and all that, working with real customers. And man, I learned exponentially more than anything I learned in classes, just actually working. So 100% experience is way superior than anything you learn in school. Especially you spend those first 2 years just learning like math, science, like U.S. history. I mean, it's interesting, but like it doesn't help you in your work. And yeah, so I'll say that for sure. A lot of the information is, I would say, useless. There are some classes. I think if I would have applied myself more in certain classes, like we had like MIS and information systems, I could have learned a lot more about Excel, Word, all that stuff. Um, but I just wasn't really interested in it, and now I'm kind of looking back like I could have learned. There's information like that. It also depends on the class. My project management class, that one was really interesting. I learned a lot in that one, just how project management works and things like that. So it's all kind of give and take, but I would say overall, I would say like 90-95% of the information is useless. That was just for me. So definitely real work experience is far superior. Um, some pros and cons of college, I would say. What I noticed, especially talking to a lot of people and just kind of observing, I'm always kind of just observing, questioning stuff. Um, I think college is needed. And now hear me out. Um, it's needed because if you go like on the like whole business, social media, content and all that, everybody's hustle, grind, chase your dreams. What I noticed in the last 4 years is not everyone has those aspirations. Not everyone has aspirations of just doing what they want. They don't people Not everyone has these big dreams. Like this is what I just noticed. Not everyone does. Some people just want a stable job, where they can get there at 9 and leave at 5. And so college helps train people to do that. You know what I mean? Not everyone has the desire to be influential. Not everyone has the desire to be famous, for example. Not everyone has the desire to be wealthy. A lot of people genuinely just want to live good lives. They want to have a stable income to be able to, go on vacation twice a year, work for a good company, a good paying position with benefits and things like that. So the system is designed to train people to do that. And for some people, it's needed because, if it was just kind of a big, scramble, like without college, like people wouldn't know what to do, I feel like. And of course, these big businesses, they need people to do that. So not everyone has the desire, there's a lot of people, to go start a business, like go start it's like the jokes, go start an LLC, whatever. Not everyone wants to do that. That's one thing I noticed. I thought that everybody wanted to be rich. I thought everybody wanted to be wealthy. I thought everybody wanted to fly in private jets. And I mean, I'm not saying that's what I want, but um, I'm interested in business. I'm interested in stuff like that. But not everyone is. Not everyone is. Some people just, and so the system is good for what it's designed to do. I feel like, you know, and I mean, in my experience, personal experience, yeah, like I got a job. They helped me put together a resume at the university. Went to the classes. You get the degree, you got the paper, you submit the application. One thing that I will say that's very cool. I didn't realize because obviously I didn't really care about college that much, but the amount of resources that the university offers, man. I feel like if I cared a little more, I could definitely use like get the full kind of benefit of these resources. They said they do mock interviews. They will help you build a resume. Even alumni, like if you graduate and then you work in a field in a job for 10 years, um, and then you decide to change your career path, you can come back to the university, work with people to update your resume, work with people to do mock interviews again. And I just thought that was really cool. Like it's like this big place that just helps you to get a job. And I think that's really good. That's one thing that I will kind of brag on, I guess, about the university. They do have a lot of resources to help people. I think it's cool. You also get connected with a lot of people. Like there's some professors. I had professors who were former CEOs of huge corporations. Oil companies, managers at like high positions at like Coca-Cola. So it's like it is a good like kind of like a networking thing as well. So there's definitely some pros to it. It's not all just like busy work and just dreading everything. There is some positives to it. The system works. Of course, if you get a useless degree, that's kind of on you. I feel like, you know, like what is it, like the gender studies or whatever, like, and then you're crying about you can't get a job. Well, I'm sorry. But if you just get a good degree, business management, I think there's always going to be, even with AI, I'm sure, there's still going to be need people to manage stuff and all like that. So there are definitely pros to it. Some of the cons, at times it feels very limiting. You know, it's like maybe you do have a creative idea, but while you're in college, um, you have assignments, deadlines, due dates, and that creative spark in you can't really fully, mm, you know, expand on it. You can't really test it out as much. You can't really like travel. I guess you're kind of just confined and restricted in a way. Um, you don't have as much freedom, I guess, because you're kind of committed to this thing. But I guess that's with everything as well. If you have a business, I mean, you're kind of stuck to that. But at times it feels limiting. At times it feels depressing for sure. And for me personally, a con is I don't really learn well via lecturing. I don't learn well just like someone talking to me off a PowerPoint, which is part of the reason actually why I'm doing the podcast. Because, the goal ultimately is to have guests on, because the way I learn is through conversation. There was a class this semester. The professor lectured the whole semester, but the last class, after we took the finals and turned in all the projects, he just had a conversation with us. And he's like, if you guys have any questions, any topics, any advice that you guys need, let's just talk. And we talked about, the project we did, some of our findings. He and he just like in a conversation like format, in a way, he kind of explained things to us, and like I actually got some of it and it actually made sense and I was interested. I can't learn, lecture. If you put PowerPoint slides up and you're just blah blah blah, especially if you're already a boring person, not that this professor was, but I'm saying in general, a lot of professors, have a monotone, just some professors are quiet, some professors are loud, whatever. So it I can't do it. I couldn't do it, it's gotta be hands on. I gotta see you do it. I learn better conversation, like me being able to ask questions like in a non formal setting. I also work like I just need to see you do it. Maybe I've never done it. Maybe I've never. It happened with my dad at the company, the trucking company. I never operated or managed a business. Day-to-day operations, nothing like that. I've never did that. I was working in the flooring department at Home Depot, but shadowing my dad and just saying, okay, just show me how to do it and I'll copy it. Like I can pick up on little things and whatever. I can ask for advice later, but overall, I just, it's got to be real world experience. I don't do well with learning off of PowerPoint and then coming back and then trying to apply it. It doesn't stick with me either. Like a lot of the formulas and stuff, I'm like, I'm sure if I was, beginning an accounting job and, I was actually using these principles, the journaling, the entries and all that. If I was actually applying it, I'm sure I'd catch on to it in like a week. But when you're just asking me to read out a textbook and then test me on it 2 weeks later, I can't get that. It doesn't make sense to me. I got to apply it, practice. It's got to be real to me. You know what I mean? So that was one thing. And then pretty much the last two takeaways, really. The first one that I noticed like 100 day and night difference um, is that professors make the difference. They absolutely make the difference, no questions asked. It feels like there are some professors, they're close to retiring, they don't care. They're just there to show up. If you learn it, you learn it. If their teaching style works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Um, and so those classes, I definitely didn't learn as much. I learned enough, but I didn't learn the information. I don't remember anything from it. Um, but there was other professors who went above and beyond, and in those classes, um, I learned the most. I actually learned stuff. Um, and I guess it's not a coincidence, probably, but the professors that went above and beyond were usually the professors who had real world experience, who worked in a business, who had their own business, maybe, who were entrepreneurs, people that have actually done something. The professors that have kind of just been professors their whole lives, they're just kind of in a routine, I feel like, and it wasn't interesting to me. I didn't learn as much from them. But the professors that cared, the professors who asked, hey, is this the thing we're doing? Is that helping you learn? Class says, no, not really. Okay, we're not going to do this anymore. Boom. Professor asks, hey, if we, do this assignment, or if we watch this, or if we talk about this, would that help you? Yes. Professor changes it up. Boom. If the professor is organized, because they're so, taking, towards the end, I was taking 6-5 classes this semester because I was, behind because of COVID. That's another cool thing about, accomplishment. I graduated on time. I was not supposed to. I grinded a lot to graduate on time. But yeah, the professors that, were organized. You're taking 6 classes at a time. You got different due dates. If their layout on the D2L or whatever is all unorganized, if the professor's unorganized, they're not good at putting in grades. That kind of is difficult. So those professors definitely helped a lot. They had an organized syllabus. They stuck to the schedule, due date for assignments. Boom, 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 boom. Go through the topics. You figure it out. Boom, boom, boom. Ask questions. They're available. All that stuff. The professor makes the difference. If you have a professor from, it's always like, or like, what's the saying? They say, you got to learn from people that you want to be like, or learn from people that are in positions that you want to be in. So when you have a professor who used to be a CEO, that's the perfect professor to learn from. You can ask questions, and the same professors are the ones that like are teaching you, and then the textbook or the PowerPoint that they're given says something, and they're like, yeah, but in the real life, I know this is what the textbook says, but in real life, it doesn't work this way. Those are the professors that the information they give you is helpful and beneficial. So that's that. And lastly, I kind of wanted to sum this up. If you're gonna go to college, I would absolutely, of course, depending on your situation, state, all that stuff, I would absolutely 100% stay out of debt. Like, college debt is the most ridiculous thing. I went to a pretty affordable college. It actually ranks like second in the state or in the country, for affordability, debt to, ratio. Like when students come out, they have the least amount of debt. I think that's very important because it gives you options. And getting into college debt, college loan debt, to me, is just dumb. There's so many resources. There's so many scholarships available. I wasn't the brightest student. I'm not Einstein, but I graduated high school with, in Georgia, we have the Hope Scholarship, which pays for roughly like 80 to 90%, I think, of your college, of your tuition. And then, if you just maintain a 3.0 throughout college, they pay for 80 to 90%, maybe, and then you can get other grants throughout. You can apply for scholarships and all that stuff. Like, you should not graduate with debt. Everything you can do, like I was paying like maybe $500-$700 a semester. The last semester, the way it works, I don't know how it's set up. I had to pay like the full amount, which was like a couple thousand, but still, don't get into debt, man. It's so, with the amount of resources that you have available to you through colleges and other resources, you should not be graduating with debt. There is no reason for it. So yeah, that's what I would say. Do not graduate with debt. Everything you can to be debt free. I I think it sets you up beautifully and for the future. So make sure you do that. Man, if I missed anything, I'll probably bring it up again at some point. Maybe especially talking with my brother whenever he finally graduates. And on all technicalities, I think I am officially the first, because we're first generation college students, me and my brother. And on all technicalities, I am officially the first graduate. So I'll have that forever. Ooh, because he actually, what's it called? He was supposed to graduate before me because he was enrolled in high school. But then he took time off. And so your boy beat him for that spot. So yeah, that's it with school. It's already 30 minutes in, which is forever. But I hope my experience could be helpful, beneficial to somebody listening, watching. If you have any questions, comment. I can definitely go into more detail just about my opinion on school. So would I recommend for someone to go? I go back to the same thing, to probably the thing I said in the beginning. I'm not a fan of wasting time. If you have a plan, if you have a dream and this is what you want to do, go for it. That's what I would say. 100% go for it. If you're like me, you're kind of indifferent, you're kind of uncertain. I didn't know, was I going to be in ministry? Was I going to be in business? What was I going to do? Was I just going to be an employee somewhere? I didn't know. But I'm not a fan of wasting time, because those three things, being in ministry, being in business, being an employee, you can try those three things out while you're in school. Okay. So I would say don't waste time. If you don't have a clear direction, if you don't have a clear call from God, I didn't feel like I did at the time, go. It's better to be educated. It won't hurt you to have a degree. Is it going to make you a millionaire? Is it going to make you a billionaire? It's not, probably not, but don't waste time. That's what I would say. Look at your situation and don't waste time. But anyway, risk it for the biscuit. I wanted to talk about today. That's it for school. Again, comment if anything, go back to it. Man, maybe you know what? We'll just save this for the next one. We'll save it for the next one because I don't want to go much longer for today because I feel like I can go a lot for this guy. So you're going to have to tune in. I think I probably mentioned in this episode, but tune in for the next episode. I'm going to talk about another person from the Bible. I think, honestly, even if you're not a Christian, bro, the Bible is so cool. Just the history of it and how a lot of things connect and how this thing, like if you like novels, bro, you got to read the Bible. I'm telling you. But anyway, I'm going to talk about Joshua and how his life is in a way similar to Abraham with the risks that he took and things like that. So I think I'm just going to wrap it up here. I was going to keep going, but we're pretty long on time here. So just make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next Monday for episode 17. Potentially, maybe, hopefully, if not 17, maybe 18, we'll have my brother Roman as the co-host. And so that's it. I hope you guys have a beautiful week. Take risks, whatever your dream is, man, whatever you feel like God's calling you to do, take that step of faith, make the risk. Y'all be blessed, and we'll see you next week. Peace.